And we are good to go. Hello, everybody, for SUSE QE Tools Workshop. Today, Tina will tell us something about email notifications, and then we can discuss in the audience our feedback and our experience with that. So, Tina, what can you show?
Hello, 1 second.
So, where are you right now? Is this Seattle?
Yeah, no, this is Portland,
Portland. Okay.
but very close to Seattle. Okay. So I'm sharing. Trying to share a window.
Yep.
So yeah, you might have heard about the feature that you can get email notifications for unreviewed issues. So that are failed tests that don't get a bug ref assigned automatically, for example. And this is run by our hooks that are started after a job has finished. And you can trigger this by editing your job group properties and add a mail to :space and then one or more email addresses. So this will be taken into consideration, and the email will be sent to those addresses. In the beginning, we had some issues with sending emails from O3 especially, but now this is all figured out. So it should work from O3 and OSD. And yeah, maybe just to check, who of you has not heard of this feature before? Okay, good. So everybody probably has heard of this feature. An email in Slack looks like this currently. So this is how it looks like collapsed, and we don't really have, yeah, the Slack email feature is a bit limited. So we can see the subject here and from, and then the start of the email. And I had to figure out actually how to do that, because it depends on if the first thing is a link or not. So at least we can see apart from the job name.
I think it's a little bit different. It has also the name of the group, like maintenance GR or /15s before.
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
No, I think, okay, go on, sorry.
Yeah, I'm having a bit of a hearing disability, so yeah, I might have to ask a bit more than others.
Yeah, it's okay. It's only about the email, the specific format that we need for email. So you tried to find a good compromise between what is rendered nicely as a pure email in an email application, as well as this this collapsed preview of a message in Slack converted from an email. Right?
Yeah. So in an expanded view, it looks like that. So we have the named link here, and also we have the link as it would look in plain, so you can actually see the number also, and then a link to the auto log directly, and some more information. This is all the information that we get from this single API call. And there is some code that is guessing that you might be able to find the problem in the last log lines. I'm actually not sure if that really helps a lot. I think this code has been there for quite a while. But if I look at it, I usually don't really see the reason. Maybe this could be improved in the future.
Yeah, it has worked in the past for errors that appeared at that time. We depend on certain expressions coming from auth auto-inst. So maybe we have changed the actual output from auth auto-inst and can adapt this here. I also found that for this specific example, I mean, these are real examples that we use within our group channel for the OpenGA and OpenGA tests, right? And there, this log excerpt is like, yeah, okay, it's only telling that the system is shutting down, so likely the specific important content was above that. Anton, you raised hand.
Yeah, I just want to mention what I was using for some kind of similar logic. In the test UI, you have this black boxes. It's described. I don't remember now the details. You probably know it better. But it's there is like array of all these boxes which we displaying, and then there is a special field which saying that if it's error box or not, and then you can collect all red squares and display the text which is in these red squares.
Yeah.
And it would be definitely some hint for a reviewer.
Originally we started with OpenGA label known issues for the particular cases of incomplete, where where it wouldn't be interesting to look into the screenshots. I think in the end we cannot replicate what we have come up with over years in nice little thumbnail boxes in a text representation. Okay, I mean, this is why the first thing is still a link to the job, right? So you would see the details. This log excerpt is more like, yeah, okay, maybe it's an incomplete, so the relevant content is only in the log file anyway.
Chris?
So do we know in this example if you've already investigated this? Do we know what the issue likely was, or what we should see in the snippet?
No, I would guess it could be zipper timeout.
And at least in us audience, we have logic to try and make sure that we detect the actual issue, right? But I'm not sure if that's being used here.
But no, here
well.
the problem is a different one. Tina, are you sharing pictures right now, or is this a browser view? Yeah, this I see it's an image view.
Picture, but the link to the test is
would be
this one.
Yeah, exactly. So if you take a look there, then I would say it's quite obvious from the job details view. May I share my browser showing that?
Yeah.
Okay. guess it helps if you unshare your stream then, so that the focus for everybody switches. So that's what you get if you follow the link. So clearly the job failed in the step. It says failed. The command job ID OpenGA client something JQ something failed. And if we take a look into the screenshot here, then we see that there is an error 503 servers unavailable. And this is when the client call failed. Done?
Yeah, I'm just want to mention that actually with this file at Square and text which you just showed, I think it makes sense to display it, to add it to email.
Yeah, but you see that, you know, what would it tell you if this test died command job ID equals something failed? You would still benefit very much from taking a look at this screenshot, knowing more context, like, okay, what did we do in before? Okay, we're doing something with JQ and then job ID, and then we see this error, and this error is also not visible in the same box, but the previous one to give the context.
I guess the problem here is we can't really use the actual text output, right? It's only
I would
available as part
say
of the needle.
I would say the limitation is really that we cannot put everything which we have here into text that, you know, provides all necessary details, but it's still but it's not enough so that you're actually still reading it as a human. I mean, that's the
Well,
trade-off.
not necessarily everything that's in there, but for instance,
Yeah.
if the last output from the command, we already have the command, right? We know what the last command was. So with the particular text output in this case, you would already know exactly what's failing.
Yeah, that would also depend on how you write the test.
Yeah, in the auto inst log, we don't have 503 service unavailable in this.
Exactly. Yeah.
So two comments. First of all, you missing from context serial text based tests, where you don't have screenshots and where you just have the serial output.
Yep.
And in this case, you have no reason to go to the job because everything is already there. And another one, for me personally, from review experience, very common case, you have some job which is failing for last 3 days with the same error, and you need this box, because if you will see similar error, you will be 99% sure that this is like old failure which already known, and then you can skip the reviewing the certain job. So yeah, it sometimes really help. Nevertheless, that it will not show you everything, but you know the job, and if you're doing review not first day, it really helps sometimes to see the exact error failure, because you can conclude a lot of things from this certain error.
By the way, I have opened an Etherpad. If you have any ideas, you can also put them there.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, we don't have this in the log, but in the log we at least have the test guideline with the actual command, and that would be an improvement to the current state, I guess. If we can include this, so maybe we should look for a test diet. What do you think?
Yes, that's the string one could look for, to, you know, basically give the same information as this box.
Yeah.
I think it would be a good start already. Obviously, it's not going to cover everything, but it would already tell you that, for instance, not some some issue with executing the test, but it is a particular issue in the test command that's being run there.
Yep. So for a bit of context for the people that want to dive in a bit further, let me see. Maybe you know that better by now. Where do we have this code that extracts the log snippet? Is this in under common?
Yep.
Okay. So we are in the auth auto and scripts repository, and there we have the script which is called OpenQA label known issue. That one is the one that is called, which gets some common function common. And here we can see on JQ run curl and then search log. And in search log we have grep calls. Here you see snip start and snip end. And when we couldn't find an already known issue, then we call where is such expression?
Maybe it could help to actually wrap the lines here, because that's a long line with several greps.
Yeah. This is where the email notification happens, but basically it's this grep with alternatives. So this or sending magic exit, killing command server test execution ended, or exit 1, or results died, either the video failed, or if all that fails, then no log. So I don't know which one matched in this particular example. Maybe we can add an alternative there.
Yeah, that would be the first step. And there's also a suggestion to make another API call, and that's of course yeah, that we could do at the next step. Just that, yeah, another API call takes a bit more time, and the log we already have there.
But I'm in this context, I think that could be helpful, but I'm also interested in how people use it for actual notification purposes, because this is already going the next step to say like, okay, I was triggered, I was notified that there's something, and of course you want to look into what's the source of the problem. Do I need to handle that? Is there somebody else that needs to handle that? And either you can decide that already based on the email or that notification, which you end up reading over bridge, like in the example which Tina mentioned for Slack. Or you say like, we don't know what the problem is, but we have the test URL, so we can go there and check the detail, right? So, did you want to show something else there, explain something more, ask more?
No, only there is actually a ticket. I think it's not in our backlog, whereas there are already some suggestions, but let me just try to find it. Anton? Anton, do you want to speak?
No, I didn't raise a hand.
Anton Papas, you raised your hand.
Yes. I have a semi-related question. How stable is the details JSON? Do JSON files have the JSON file schema?
You mean also the route which is mentioned here on line 5, API, we want
details JSON.
Yeah, that's considered part of the stable API. So you wouldn't change that without pre-announcing and deprecation notices. So, we would likely keep it that way and add in.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, somehow I cannot find the actual open ticket about the improvement.
Yeah, so that also, if you do not, that also depends on how the feature currently, because it's not, what we're talking about here is the upstream OpenGA feature of executing job done hooks. And these hooks can be any script and have enabled within the scope of OpenGA OpenSUSE.org and OpenGA SUSE DE, the scripts which I've shown you before. And this one includes the OpenGA label known issues. So certainly only a subset of OpenGA users uses this particular feature. Hannes?
Yeah, good morning. So, okay, I have only stupid questions. Like, how this is actually help us in productivity?
Very good point.
Because
That's what we would like to answer.
What was the question?
How does it help us in actual like real life workflows? Maybe somebody else would like to answer that already is using that feature.
I also was thinking that not many people check this because it's so many notifications all the time. So I assume that you have a new build, you have already established some ways to review. So pretty much this is the very last place that you're gonna check, or is there something there that I miss?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I can, Tina, this is likely the tickets that you meant. So I can tell you that we are using OpenGA with the OpenGA and OpenGA tests. Okay? We, as the SUSE QE Tools team, of course, we are the main contributors and developers to OpenGA, but we also try to make use of OpenGA so that we feel like real users. And what we use them for is the OpenGA and OpenGA tests. The OpenGA and OpenGA tests, they are rather stable, so they only fail every now and then. Let's say every couple of days or weeks they fail. Okay, so we need a notification for that. We did have a notification for that already in before by having comments written in OBS. The difference is now that we are sending the notifications more directly and that it's a bit easier to handle than the OBS comments because we can be more specific, point to the individual jobs, and that wasn't easily possible within OBS comments. So that's how it helps us.
This should email only when the job is a review, right?
Correct. So if it fails, then a workflow starts that says like, okay, maybe it's already a known issue and it's using a label a bug ref carryover in OpenGA. Then there will be no email because we have a ticket and that ticket is just carried over. If that doesn't match anything, but OpenGA label known issues matches on a regex on an existing ticket and it's a so-called known issue, then this ticket is used. And again, there will be no email notification because we already know the issue. We have a bug ref for that.
So I have to follow-up things. One is when you open you source one of the notifications. There is one bullet which says reason. The reason is to reasoning what should be there.
Mhm.
It's null in this case that Tina shows.
Yes,
But
there is a
Is,
reason field. Marius, you're here. Maybe you would like to shortly explain what the reason field is for, how it's filled, how it's used.
Yes, I can do that. The reason field is basically populated from very different components within both AutoInst or OpenQA. It really depends where the error happens, and it tries to contain the error that happens first. So if one problem occurs, that should become the reason. If follow-up problems occur, then that isn't part of the reason anymore. So we try to capture the source of the problem here and not the symptoms. Yeah, just to give one instance, if a worker is not reachable anymore at some point, the web UI thinks that job has been abandoned and sets the reason accordingly. So that would be a case when the web UI sets the reason. And of course, in that case, the reason also has content that you cannot really get from logs. Maybe in this case, no logs have been uploaded anyways. Sometimes it is also content which would be present in the logs. For instance, if OS AutoInst sets the reason, because, for instance, there was an exception in the backend. You likely all know backend died, colon, and then some Perl exception. Yeah, that's, I think, all about reason.
helpful. And the second one is like, if this is, as you said, shows only the things that are not reviewed, uh, it will worry me that there are so many notifications.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you asked about that. Sorry, I didn't answer that. So it depends on the tests and on the products that you're working with. Okay. I gave you one example of OpenGA and OpenGA tests, which are very stable. So there we don't have something like a regular review. We just react on notifications if they happen. If you work on a product that is more prone to fail, where you would have at least one failure every day, let's say at the start of a workday, then I would understand if people just say like, well, I'm just, picking up my cup of coffee at the start of a day. I'm sitting down and taking a look at the to-do list on OpenGA to find all unreviewed job failures that I need to take a look at. I don't need those notifications because, it's just something that I do every day. But you can combine these things. For example, you could say we have a rather stable job group, which we assume to normally have no failed jobs or only known issues, only reviewed issues, then you could benefit from notifications. Okay. There is another feature built in. So Tina, you mentioned the mail to address, right? What happens what happens with all the job groups that don't have that configured?
Then it lands in another channel. So there's one channel configured for OSD in Slack where all the unreviewed jobs land which don't have an email configured.
Yeah. So you can work in that channel directly and, start a thread for every unreviewed job failure in there and say like, yeah, we will handle this, we will handle that. And then somebody could take a look like, what are all the notifications that do not have handling yet, do not have a response yet? Or you could also see every email that is received on that list as a to-do entry to say the goal should be that there is no further email here, because every email means that there is no proper configuration present yet where to send notifications to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's like
Or the audio feature, this is why we are talking today. So maybe you guys have more questions. Can we clarify something, what this means, how to use it, what you need to do to make use of it? I could also remind about like, why do we, how did we come to the motivation to have that? There is a desire to have notifications, and in particular email-based notifications, for multiple years in the context of OpenQA. And some projects and for some products that was already implemented years ago. As I was saying, for the OpenQA and OpenQA test, we already had that for years, that we would receive a notification if jobs would be failing. The same for OpenSUSE Krypton, for example.
But just to be accurate here, it's not notification for jobs that fail, but it's notification for jobs that neglected to review, right?
Yeah, right. Sorry about that. Yeah, to be more specific, only unreviewed job failures. So that would be less emails, right? Because the goal should be, I mean, you don't want to be overwhelmed with an email for every failed job and there's already somebody working on it, right? There's a ticket or a bug attached to that. Thank you.
I just yeah. So for go on.
Mm-hmm. And the specific motivation here, why we did that latest incarnation of that approach, is the SLE maintenance test update reviewing. For SLE maintenance test updates, there are two important characteristics which we assume define the process. One is that because it's stable maintenance testing, we should assume that there should be less failures than for, testing the new alpha version of SLE 16 or something, right? So there should be less failures, and the default state should be that all tests pass. Tests should only fail as an exception, point to either a product regression or test regression. And the second point being is that we want to have a much more rapid feedback, because we want to release that update, and some updates are time critical. So it's urgent to look at test failures and rule out false positives and bring back the feedback if there is actually a product regression about to be released, right? And these two things combined make it much more suitable to say react based on notifications, so that your normal workday would say you go about doing, what you had planned to do, like working on the test regressions that you have identified the past days, improving the test, extending the test scope, unless you receive a notification. If you do receive a notification, act upon that. And at best, do that within the day, not just on the, the start of a next workday.
So I have a question. So you're stressing that this is about unreviewed issues. So maybe the audience here is mostly not looking at unreviewed issues. Maybe people are reviewing things and not able to benefit from this. Just wondering this. Maybe, this is not useful in that sense because we don't even see it.
Anton?
Yes. Actually, we are trying to, at least in QE Core, and I think this is a general initiative, we're trying to review our own jobs. So we're just starting. So we don't have any. We don't have any questions yet because they started this month to actively have someone on review duty and to fix the bugs immediately. So that's why I think there are not too many questions right now, but we very much appreciate tools like that. And as Oliver remembers, I personally missed some, what's it called? A sporadic failure because I didn't review correctly, so to say. I just saw
Yeah,
a
I would
nice.
say there are different approach angles under which you would find, from all the different directions, you will find failed jobs. Just depends
Well,
on
I
where you
didn't
start
find
from.
it, so it was the wrong angle.
You started from another one, and I started from yet another one. So this is why I found something which you haven't seen. So yeah, okay, yeah, sure, something was missed. So this is also why we want to have that approach here to say maybe that would point out even some could be additional benefit to say show some jobs which otherwise you might not have found because maybe you looked at, well, in the end, maybe you looked at the wrong page, right?
So we're thankful for any automation, any improvement in that. But I personally don't have questions yet because I haven't checked out this.
Just some statistics. We currently have 3 job groups in OSD that are using this feature. Public cloud maintenance updates, container maintenance updates, and YASP maintenance updates.
So for the people that are consumers of those, would you guys comment on does it work? Does it serve the purpose? Or would you say, we tried it and now we neglect work? Or let me ask the other way around. Has anybody seen emails or Slack notifications in the form that Tina showed earlier?
I tried in the beginning, but I give up because I didn't see big value for me.
So you saw them, but you saw too many, is that?
I start taking the Slack additional benefit to you keep using it.
Because you would review test failures periodically anyway, is that?
No, I used to do the review every day.
Yeah.
Especially for my maintenance, but it was hard to follow all these long lists from the Slack, and I had my process, so it will make me. I don't see any reason to that I can't use this.
Sure, that's fine. Could be. Okay. Next one. Want to say, Pavel?
Yeah, I may also show you my point of view. Well, yeah, I was very happy about this feature actually. But if you compare the Slack email expression, so I mean the way how the Slack can show an incoming email, and compare it, for example, if you paste a GitHub link, then the preview of that GitHub issue is very nice,
Yeah.
and it has an icon. It says like what's important. It's tiny. It's compact, and that's good. But sadly, it's like it's not that pretty for the emails, in my opinion.
I agree. But
Well,
does
the
that
end,
deny the purpose of, the kind of the Boolean information that you
yeah,
had been informed there is an issue, right?
that
Is
is
it?
that is true. But we are well, yeah, we are trying this, but we have a lot of job groups, and we are receiving a lot of failures, and it's like, I don't know, tens of failures a day.
Mhm.
And at the end, I think few people, not all, but few people from our team are already using the OpenQA
Yep.
which Fred was showing. And yeah, even my personally, I like that one probably more, just because of the list is just too long for, yeah, too long.
Good.
I mean, of course, with the Slack emails, we are simply restricted because of Slack. I mean, if we have had an open chat application, then maybe we could actually program something.
Well, I think that maybe if you have a chat, if you have a Slack bot, then it has more options how to show like those previews. But yeah, the incoming emails, they are pretty limited.
Okay, so you think it would be possible to make use of a bot?
Yeah, I'm sure that would allow more freedom on how it looks like.
But yeah, is there maybe another thing we could do with this information? So we are running this job and we're sending emails. Would there be another form of where we could share this information that would make it more useful? Like posting it to some web page?
Maybe, or maybe there can be, like some middleware, like this script will send the email somewhere or post it somewhere, and then from that place, there will be a little Slack bot waiting and displaying it in some sleek form in the Slack channel.
So, may I say something?
Mm-hmm.
So, from your discussion, I have two ideas. First idea is OpenQA bot in a Slack with whom you can actually speak and ask him, tell me latest failures for X hours in this job group, and which can give you which can give you the failures, or which you can configure that he will send you notifications at some certain period of time with latest failures in these job groups.
I
Uh,
like
I,
it.
I understand that this is like pretty big topic to achieve, but yeah, it would really benefit for everyone.
I
And another idea is uh, there was someone said about a web page, and it would be really nice to have OpenQA presented by Felix as some static web page, which you can just open and see the output.
That's possibility. I have another idea. You don't have to join, but on Slack, search for channel alerts minus public minus cloud. Alerts public cloud. And see the content there.
Alerts.
You don't have to join it, just open it. You see, there is nothing like from, nothing like email. Just you see an icon, then you immediately see what's the problem, and then you see description, and it's yeah.
Okay, and that is done via an app.
Yes, that is a Slack app, which I think it's not like developed by the team. It's I think it goes from Grafana or something like that. But as it is a Slack app, it's the Slack for those apps allows much more like nicer previews.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's, if somebody would develop a Slack bot, then we would have nice integration.
this would be actually a very nice project for Hack Week for some,
Sure.
but we just had like Hack Week.
Yeah, when will be the next one? We only have one in a year now, right?
So I'm curious about the idea of OpenQAmon as a static web.
Actually, I found bad idea this one.
That isn't that the same as OpenQA Review?
For me, OpenKey Review always was more focused on sending report to managers and not really useful for like daily review when you need to go failure by failure and figure out what's going on. And this is where OpenKMon is more suitable. But yeah, I understand that this is my personal just my personal opinion. But the downside of OpenKMon um, is that yeah, you need to basically start it every time, find out what you need to use, which job groups you want to monitor, and from this perspective, the web page would be better. But yeah, maybe it's just maybe I will be the only user of this. I don't know. Just speaking
Maybe
loud.
maybe it would be useful to extend the activity view instead, if what you want is really be able to monitor certain jobs on the instance?
What do you mean activity view?
If
Maybe you can briefly show it. So basically it's in the menu. It's called activity view. It shows the jobs you
Tina, could you show that in browser?
What?
Yeah, maybe I think this is me, Amand, and I think yes, but you really need to add there like flexibility of filtering everything there, because currently it's like filter by group.
is in technical terms, it should be relatively easy to extend. I don't think we've had much user feedback on that recently, so I'd be interested to see. Maybe this would help your use case, and in that case, you see everything as part of the web UI.
I'm not sure what jobs currently OpenQA Mon shows. Maybe jobs that correspond to a page which you could also already see in the OpenQA web UI. So if that's the case, then
yeah, what Anton said needs that configuration. So you could say which job group or specific jobs to monitor. I still see that similar to OpenQA review. So to be able to follow on with that, I would need you to tell me where it should be different from OpenQA review.
Yeah, so OpenQA review again, it was just had a different goal. The goal that OpenQA review tried to generate a report, and I don't need a report. Yes. I need a pure list of these jobs are failing. That's it.
Yeah,
there is a lot of information which I don't need and which is just.
Tell me if the to-do only page of OpenQA review serves that purpose.
I haven't checked it, but yeah,
yeah.
I will check it again.
If you have some minutes, then we can stay in the room and do that after this meeting then. Okay? I'm happy to show you then. But yeah, thank you, Tina. You're showing the activity view. So how did you come to the activity view? Just so that everybody can follow that.
From the link in the chat here.
Yeah, okay. Can you please click to the top right? There's the menu. The very first link from the top is activity view.
Okay, something with which I'm not aware.
So yeah, the activity views includes your current jobs, meaning these are the jobs that you as the user that's currently logged into has triggered. And what, because if I understand you right, you mentioned that we could work based on that, and of course, have some filters, have some configuration menu what to look at, right?
I'm wondering whether that will show the jobs at all people are interested in.
The challenge is really how do we tell OpenQA what I am interested in? So that's the tricky
part. I have an answer. It's called user settings.
yeah, right. Okay.
And then everyone can define it on its own, and
right,
everyone will be happy.
So with that, we have reached the end of the meeting time. I would like to shortly mention that the next meeting next week will be led by Marius Gittler and present the SUSE QE Tools roadmap at the beginning of the next month, which is the month of August 2022. So yeah, with that, thank you all, and well.